If you're driving, please remember to use your car's Bluetooth speaker while listening to the AM Drive. Sports talk is not worth your safety or the safety of others.
Grab your popcorn and sit back.
Jump the gun. Oh, no, give me more than that. Okay, go this way. That was dumb. We are.
How could I tell you when nobody wants to? Your faded words I will choke.
Happy Monday to everyone in the sports universe. It is May the 16th, 2022. This is the AM Drive on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. And we are live. For Sammy Action, I am Michael Carvalho saying, what's up, Sammy?
Good morning, Michael. What a weekend in sports we had this week.
I completely agree, Sammy. And I want to first say, before anything, thank you so much for coming on the show. You'll be with us from now until the end of June for Aaron, who, of course, is working the World Series of Poker. But shout out Aaron, who will try to chime in as much as he can. But thank you, Sammy. We really appreciate you.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. I love the show, and I love helping and support you guys in any way I possibly can. So I'm happy to do it.
Well, flattering will let you know, so we'll see how you do. Okay. You've done well, Sammy. So it's time to rock. If you host a podcast or run a small business, it can be hard spreading the word. Myself and Aaron will be the first to admit, but because friends want to check it out, but Sammy, most of the time, will they?
They don't. I tried, but it's hard.
Well, it's time to turn that trying into doing and growing your brand with Popl, P-O-P-L. Popl is an easy-to-use but high-tech digital business card. You can get your Popl using the code AMDRIVE for 20% off. Set up your links and share. People share with one need a Popl, so it makes it that much easier and simpler. So when you go to popl.co and get your Popl and keychain, pop socket, and credit card form, enter that code AMDRIVE in all caps for 20% off on popl.co. Thanks so much in advance. We want to first start off this show by giving a 5 seconds of silence for the Buffalo, New York supermarket shooting. One of my family members actually used to shop there, so it kind of hit me in a different spot this time, Sammy. But just a tragedy. Any thoughts on that before we do our 5 seconds?
In this country, we have these tragedies far more often than we should, and I mean, it's just a shame. Terrible situation.
Well, let's give our thoughts for them. Give 5 seconds to think about it. And that is that. Let's get into our best and worst of the weekend. Sammy, let's start off with your worst of the weekend, as I do with Aaron. So what happened this weekend that kind of got you just like, well, it stunk, or well, they stunk?
Well, there was a lot to choose from, honestly, in the world of sports this weekend for greatness. But for me, the worst of the weekend had to be the Milwaukee Bucks role players. They are blessed to have Giannis, the best player in the league, on their team. They're in a Game 7 that he's basically carried them for. And I even wrote down some stats for you for how they decide to perform. The players of Wesley Matthews, Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, and George Hill played 86 minutes combined. They went 2 of 17 from the field, 0 of 12 from 3. I think they had combined total of 4 points or 5 points in a Game 7, which they very much could have won. Watching the game reminded me of a very famous quote from White Men Can't Jump, where he said, let's just stop right here, gather up all these bricks, and build a shelter for the homeless so that your mother will have a place to live. And that is exactly what I was thinking about as I was watching this game every time these guys shot the ball. Terrible.
Yeah, I felt sorry for Giannis as well. I mean, Giannis is a guy who, like in a pedestrian game, he dropped 25, 20 rebounds, and 9 assists. Like, it's unfair. And I was watching the First Things First with Nick Wright and the crew. And Nick was like, the guy had 44 points in Game 6 in the closeout game, and Jason Tatum just one-upped him. It's incredible how poorly they needed Chris Middleton. It's kind of sad, but I guess the teams were humbled.
Oh yeah, Chris Middleton comes out looking like a superstar, and our buddy Tom has been saying that for years that he's this great player. And as bad as that their role players played, I mean, with him they probably would have won this series. They probably should have won anyway. But yeah, I mean, Chris Middleton was definitely a piece they were missing down the stretch of these last couple games.
We'll definitely get to that game later on in segment 2, but that's Sammy's worst. My worst is the other conference finals game in the NBA. It's Chris Paul. And not just his performance, but it's the aftermath. From the fans kind of harping on him, saying, oh, this is it. He's no longer this, that, and the other. Guys, he's a pass first point guard who occasionally can drop 30 points if he wants to. The problem is he doesn't want to. It's not his fault that Devin Booker crapped down his leg in the game 6 and 7. Okay? Chris Paul is there to control the offense, and if they're not hitting shots, guess who loses? You guessed it. And then, of course, afterwards, Mark J. Spears said, whoa, Chris Paul left with a limp. We don't care. He ran around the court for 40 minutes every single night, and now he's got a left quad injury. We don't care. Everyone's got injuries this time of year, and Chris Paul just didn't perform. But I'm not going to leave it all on Chris Paul, and I'll get to that later, but it's just sad the aftermath of what happened from the injury excuse to the, he's terrible, just an awful player. Come on, guys, stop it. He's a floor general, Sammy.
He is, and that was one of the worst Game 7 performances maybe in the history of the league the Suns put on. And I feel terrible for their fan base. They deserve better. They had a good team.
Did you know, for those of you that didn't watch the show I was watching this morning, that it's the first time, it's the biggest home Game 7 loss since 1948, and a team called the Bombers blew it. That's
a good
not
one.
good.
That's a good trivia question.
Right. So the best of the weekend, Mr. Sammy, for you?
Well, since we both trashed the NBA playoffs, that kind of segues perfectly into my best, which is the NHL as a whole. I grew up in the 80s, 90s watching Jordan and Ewing and all these very passionate basketball players. And the games were always hard fought and they were always close. And this weekend we had 5 Game 7s in the NHL.
Ooh.
Every game was close, was competitive, was full of passion, and these guys left it on the court, on the ice. In basketball, we had 2 Game 7s. Both were 30-point blowouts, pretty much over before we even sat down. I mean, it was awful watching those basketball games. So my plea for the best of the week is, if you like sports, if you enjoy good sports, watch hockey. Hockey is great. Playoff hockey is phenomenal, and the games are so good. These guys leave it out there every game. And so I'm just proud to be a fan of hockey. I had a great time watching hockey all weekend, and I have officially turned the corner that hockey is now better than basketball.
Whoa, let's just stop here. That's debate for another day, but good. Now, this weekend, of course, but come on. Can't let you come on the show and just say that.
I'm sorry. I was a basketball fan my whole life. I never really got into hockey, but now that I've gotten into hockey, it's just they play all 60 minutes. They're always on the ice. It's not this stoppage of play like in football. They aren't whining to the referees every chance they get like they are in soccer and in basketball. And these guys are taking pucks 100-mile-an-hour shots to their face, to their legs, just to save the opportunity for a goal. I mean, it's just the passion and energy is just so much stronger in hockey. And these guys put it out there. I mean, I love watching the sport.
One of the things I'll say about hockey is hockey. I'm trying to watch the sport. Like, what is so intriguing about this game? Not only is there a physicality aspect of it, to your point, there's also, because the puck, like Aaron said, can bounce so many different ways, no matter how it's hit. People don't realize in basketball you can control your dribble. In hockey, if you can ice skate at full speed while getting popped and still do that, some of the greatest athletes in the world. I mean, there's literally probably more of a select few of those guys than there are football and basketball players by far. Because you have to, I cannot skate. I can't even ice skate.
Not even close.
You can't either?
No, not even a little bit.
My friends are like, oh, watch me. I'm like, guys, how? So I get it, and like the whole puck is like, you can barely see it on the screen for one thing, and then they're getting Brad Marchand, Pop goes your. My favorite thing about, by the way, of the hockey weekend was this right here. Whenever the when one of the players, I believe from the Penguins, maybe held up his towel with the blood on it, like, "Hey, it's hurry!" And he goes for the last 5 minutes. It's insane.
There was a guy who had 2 plugs in his nose playing the whole game just so that there wouldn't be active blood falling down his face while he was skating.
You don't have a stoppage of play for that, right?
I mean, we could talk about the athleticism and the gracefulness of hockey versus other sports, and that's a debate we can certainly have. But in terms of just pure excitement, the games are exciting. Every play matters. The guys are putting it out there, and you can feel the energy and the passion so much more than in like the NBA or even in the playoffs of other sports. I mean, in football, they do leave it out there, but there's so much time that goes by where there's nothing happening in football. In hockey, every second really does matter. I mean, they're really pushing themselves to do something because the puck's always in play. And so after watching this weekend, I'm a full blown hockey fan. I mean, I was already a Knights fan. I go to the games. I'm a season ticket holder, but now I'm gushing over hockey. What a wonderful weekend to enjoy some sports.
And the fact that Aaron can predict it on AM Drive picks is just insane to me.
And the guy's like a wizard.
Whoa, that's not the greatest thing I was gone. Come on now. No, but my best of the weekend, by the way, Sammy, was all the Game 7s in sports. And also, like, the playoffs in general. There was hockey Game 7s, as you said, were phenomenal. Whether you like them or not, basketball Game 7s were still pretty fun to watch. And then, of course, you saw the lacrosse playoffs. It's just a great weekend of sports, and I thought that was the best for me.
Absolutely. We were blessed with a wonderful summer weekend or pre-summer weekend of sports. And we have more to come. There's still plenty more sports this next couple of weeks to discuss, to dissect, and hopefully to debate.
And you're going to be here to talk about it too. That's going to be fun. Let's get into this before we take our first commercial break. Game 6, Klay Thompson saved Steph Curry's bacon once again as the Warriors eliminated the Memphis Grizzlies in 6 games. Sammy, I have to wonder, because I want to get your take on this. We all know what happened in the game. You can harp on it if you want. But do you believe in this series, not going forward, because it's just a stupid question, because it's not going to happen anyways. Let's say the Grizzlies didn't have Ja Morant the entire time. Will the series have been better or worse? And do you think the Grizzlies could have benefited from having Ja? Because it certainly looked at those last 3 games, it really didn't matter. But I'm going to let you go first.
Well, the Warriors did blow out Memphis with Ja in the game. One of the games that he played. And Memphis had their biggest blowouts without Ja. So it leads you to think that they were slightly better without Ja. But I do think that overall, Ja's one of the best players in the league. And when you're missing that, I think you try to band together, play a little bit better defense, focus a little bit more on the details. And Memphis did seem to do that quite a bit. But I can't help but wonder if they would have been better with Ja in those fourth quarters where they were close or had leads and guys couldn't knock down shots. I mean, they played great for 3 quarters without him in every game, including the game they blew them out. But in the fourth quarter where it counted is where you need those superstars who can put up shots, get to the rim, and make buckets. And if they could play the first 3 quarters without Ja and play that level of defensive intensity and then somehow put Ja in the game for the fourth quarter, I think they win this series. But unfortunately, that's not how physics of the body work, right? So I do think they're better with Ja, but hats off to them for putting forth a huge effort to keep themselves in the game when they lost their best player.
You know, it's funny how me and you think alike, and really how me and Aaron think alike. It's just like I could have sworn this was like we were gonna have so many different opinions. That right there was literally my answer. It'd be one thing if these games were like, blowouts and you just couldn't tell, but they were so close, And then you saw Game 5 pissed me off the most. When Jaren Jackson Jr., the entire team's playing great, he chucks like 3 threes in 30 seconds. Like, what are we doing? That's when they needed Ja Morant, and that's when they were the better team. If everyone's hitting threes, I guess anybody can win any game. But if Ja Morant was there for those moments in a game that mattered so close, and we saw what he did in the first couple of games, he just cooked Draymond and whoever was on him.
Yeah.
So I think Warriors got away with murder. That's just how sports work, Best ability is availability.
Absolutely. Look, the Warriors got the benefit of no Ja, The Rangers got the benefit of having Sidney Crosby out for a couple games,
Ugh.
as well as their goaltender, Pittsburgh's goaltender, being out. So, I mean, that's just the way sports goes. You take advantage of the opportunities when you get them.
Yeah, we'll leave it there for now. When we come back, we're going to break down some more of these games, the games we already talked about, and also some other really good players that shine this weekend. This AM Drive on Twitch. Oh, Lord. Hi, this AM Drive. We're right back. I knew I was going to do that one day. The AM Drive with Mike and Aaron might be the best morning show ever. If you love the show, shop the merchandise for $26 hoodies, $16 shirts, even $13 mugs. High quality swag for cheap because Mike and Aaron love the fans. The best morning show, the lowest price merch at amdrive.online.
This is Popple, the next generation business card. With just a tap, your Popple instantly shares your digital business card to both iPhone and Android devices. The best part? The other person doesn't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. To pop your info, tap your Popple to the top of an iPhone, the center of an Android, or just scan your in-app QR code. And just like that, all your info is saved to their phone. More connections, more leads, more sales. That's Popple. Download our free app and get your Popple today.
Aren't you the Vice Golf guy?
Yeah, you want an autograph?
Yeah. Actually, I was just wondering if the balls are any good.
The balls are amazing. You look like a Pro Plus guy.
I thought you'd never ask. It's actually better than my old ball.
And it's half the price.
Top performing golf ball, half the price. It's almost stealing.
Quit searching the globe and get your high-performing golf balls at vicegolf.com.
Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
It is Monday, May the 16th, 2022, and this is AM Drive Live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. We are presented by Fanatics. It's very simple. If you want the best in sports merchandise from every team, from every league, with daily deals, you've got to go to mikeandaarondrive.com and do what, Sammy?
Click on the code. Click on the N.
Click on the F. Yes, good. Good job, Sammy. So that will help the show out, and you can also sport your favorite team's gear. It's the same thing as going to NFL Shop or NBA Store. Just do it through our link on mikeandaarondrive.com. And by the way, today's exclusive offer from Fanatics, collectibles are 25% off, including signed jerseys by your favorite players. You don't want to miss it. You want to save. You want to get that autograph thing you've been waiting for. Got to go to mikeandaarondrive.com and click the F. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna buy a collectible Chris Paul little action figure, but I heard they're a choking hazard. Can't do it.
Oh, darn you for that. Love it. Let's get right into that game. See, that was a perfect little segue. Luka legend, and of course, my little graphic says Mavs shock the Suns, win game 7 as CP3 and Book. They just choked, they suffocated and died, were buried. So, on this game, a lot of people are saying, well, who's to blame, Sammy? Who's to blame? And to that I say, Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton and Monty Williams. It's funny how the Mavs were blitzing Booker when the Suns have shooters, but then the Suns wouldn't blitz Luka. I could never get that around my head. I know Luka's just that good and he's better than Booker, but Booker, I've always said, cannot pass, and turns out he double team and he throws it away 90% of the time. That's what I found out. But great. I thought Mavs team, I thought Jason Kidd deserves a hell of a lot of credit.
These two teams were two of the top defensive teams coming into this postseason. So it never would have shocked me if either of them would have put the clamps down on the defensive side of the ball. But Dallas took it to a whole nother level in this particular game. I mean, they got Phoenix off to a really bad start. And let's be honest, all the pressure was on Phoenix in this game. Dallas came in, no one expected them to win the series. No one expected them to even make it to game 7. And so with the weight of the world on their shoulders, you could just see them collapsing, which kind of leads me as to why I think Golden State's still the best team, because they've had guys who've been there before who can do this kind of stuff. You put the pressure on Phoenix and you watch them crumble, and this is not the first time. So it didn't shock me. I liked Dallas yesterday. Congrats to Luka, but yeah, the defense was insane.
Congrats to us, and more so congrats to you. I did pick the Mavs in my brain to win the game, but on my AM Drive picks, I did pick Mavs +6 or 8 or whatever it was. And so I said sprinkle money line if you want to, and I didn't go all the way with my bonus there. Should have seen it coming, but I did at least say it was going to be closer than everyone thought. Because Stephen A. Smith before the game was like, oh, it's going to be a blowout, and the Suns are going to pull away. I'm like, not so fast. Sammy, you mentioned the Suns collapsing under the big pressure. I saw something different. Because I feel like, I'm not saying that didn't happen, but I think people have to realize this happened because the Mavs forced it to. And I want to give credit to their defense and their offenses. Jason Kidd said it. I think Ellie LaForce reported on the TNT broadcast. Jason Kidd said, we're making Chris Paul work on defense. I know how at 37 how it feels. So Jason Kidd knew, hey, I know how to wear this guy down. And apparently it worked. But I also think Luka Doncic hitting those first couple threes it made everything fall into place. Again, I think now Suns missed a bunch of layups, and just like when Giannis missed his layups, I wonder what the crap's going on. That might be the jitters you're talking about. But I think in terms of the game itself, I think Mavs forced it on them.
Oh, absolutely. The first quarter, Dallas played an insanely good game. But as Chris Paul and Devin Booker started missing shots, you could almost see the rim shrinking. Where it looked like on their end of the ball, wherever they were shooting, it was just a harder shot to hit every time. With a man in their face, even when they were open, it just looked like the ball just didn't fit right in the hole for them. And you could feel it from them. You could feel the frustration when they would shoot a wide open shot and they would just clank off the side. And you're like, what happened? These are some of the best shooters in the league, and they just could not find the bottom of the rim. Terrible performance on their part.
You mentioned the Bucks game in your opening. I want to talk some hockey too, so let's talk about this briefly because we were kind of already did. Grant Williams, I've always liked him since he was in Tennessee. Celtics did do what they were supposed to do and beat a team without Middleton as the co-star. I think Giannis deserves a lot of credit for being right there in Game 7 until the third quarter when finally Boston just broke it open. Are you impressed with the Celtics right now, or do you think they've beaten two teams that one was broken and one had no chemistry? That's kind of the fence I'm on.
I am impressed with the Celtics. Look, beating the defending champs with the best player in the league is always hard, regardless of the co-stars involved.
Right.
But they did what they had to do. I mean, look, they were down 3-2 in the series, had to go on the road and win a big game. Had to put up with a 40-point barrage by Giannis to do it. And they were able to persevere. So, I mean, I give them a ton of credit. I do think they will give Miami a tough series. If depending on who gets to the finals in the East, I think the West is better. But we'll see. I think I'm taking both West teams over both East teams right now. But that obviously is subject to change.
Ooh. Folks, we're going to have some debates as this show goes on with Sammy on, so I cannot wait for some of those. Because I've already said about I'm already counting 5 things I don't like that you said. I love this.
Looking forward to it.
Right. A game I'm sure that Aaron was salivating over was a game that I honestly, when I picked them, I believe the Maple Leafs second in my cup draft, I was banking on this god-darn series. And from Austin Matthews falling down in Game 6, which we got to on Friday, to Game 7 in Toronto. That's a heartbreaking loss. I know. I mean, Tampa Bay, for what it's worth, this series probably took 7 games because they probably are tired. But Toronto, man, that's a problem. They have to get. It's almost like when we talked to the Seals play-by-play guy, Cooper Perkins, when the Steelers were on a 6-game losing streak, it's like they need to find out how to win again. It's really impressive how teams can find ways to lose. And it's like for 10 plus years this has happened, or 20 plus years, crying out loud, and nobody can do anything about it. It's really baffling to me.
A wise man once told me, when somebody tells you who they are, listen to them. And Tampa told us who they were pretty much all season, right? That every time they had a loss, they came back and they got to win the next game. That's who they are. They overcome it. 17 straight, right?
Right.
And Toronto over the years has told us who they are. They're a very talented team. They're going to give you a good performance, but when it comes down to the biggest games, they're not going to win. They play hard. I don't think they choked. I think they gave it all they got. They played a tough game, but they're just not quite good enough. And both of those things rang true in this series. I give Tampa a lot of credit. They're still the champs. It's hard to beat the champs, and they'll be moving on.
How good was Vasilevsky? Because I thought that was the difference.
I would have said Vasilevsky was the best goalie this weekend until last night's game. Because if you saw what Jake Ottinger did last night, that was out of this world, and that wasn't a losing effort. But yeah, Vasilevsky was a beast for sure.
Wasn't he on the team? And like, I know it was a Flaming Stars game you're talking about, and I believe one of the shot discrepancy was like out of this world, and one of the goalies was still putting up numbers. It's like, how in the heck is that happening?
Yeah, last night's game was earth moving for a hockey game. I mean, watching Ottinger basically literally stand on his head. I mean, there was a couple times where he had no stick and was just diving with his face to try to stop the puck. I mean, it was an insane show that he put on, and they still beat him. But wow, I mean, it was earth movingly good.
That's awesome. I think goalies in hockey and in lacrosse are just you can't speak to their athleticism. Just they stand still a lot. But their ability to go in on this or do a split or go over here while kicking their leg is just baffling to me.
Yeah.
How do you bend like this?
And these are not small guys. I mean,
at all. No,
he's a pretty big guy. I mean, he looks at his size. Yeah, I mean, he's large and he's so quick. But yeah, the goalies in this particular round were just out of this world good. Every game was so close, and nobody put up a 7-piece, right? In game 7, it was 2-0 or 1-0 or 2-1. Like the goals
7-3s early in the series, but not this one.
Yeah, no, the game 7s were highly contested, highly defensive matches that every shot could change the course of the game. And so these guys could not take a play off. And it was very clear in the Dallas game that Dallas was going to win if Ottinger had a big game, and he did, and they still didn't win. And that just goes to show you how good that game was.
Well, the Reds had a no-hitter and they lost 2, but that's another story for another day.
Hey,
that was just insane
in history. That was the 6th time that's ever happened.
I know, but it's probably the first time since like 1950 for crying out loud.
I think the Dodgers did it like not too long ago, a couple years ago.
Who cares? What?
Baseball.
What a series for me, by the way. Connor McJesus, man. I'm a problem. I'm a big problem in hockey. These are Connor McDavid joke on the show. But the Oilers superstar in prodigy of the NHL had 4 goals and 10 assists. And by the way, in game 7, he had 1 goal and 1 assist, and they won 2-0. No coincidence. I'm actually shocked. I thought Kings. I'm not like so for me being shocked at the hockey prediction is nothing yet. But it's kind of like early on in football, I can predict games. Early on in basketball, when I was young, I can predict games. I'm shocked the Kings lost because they've got championship pedigree. I'm not sure if they still have similar players from years ago when they won it, but I'm just surprised the Oilers' young gun stepped up. Just McDavid kid's incredible.
He is. He is the best player in the league. And if you want a highlight to show what kind of effort he puts into the game, just watch his game 7 goal after probably he drew a penalty, took 2 shots on goal, kept on playing, and made a ridiculous shot with a guy basically hanging all over him. The guy is so talented, so fast, and he's a pleasure to watch. He's humble. He doesn't show tons of emotion. He certainly doesn't cry like a baby. He is out there giving his all every play, and it's so fun to watch him work when he's on the ice.
It sucks for the league, but it's so awesome for the Oilers.
I don't know if it does. I think stars make the league better, and having McDavid still in, I think, draws attention.
Yeah, well, McDavid is a monster. You've told me before, like, I think Aaron compared to LeBron and Wade. Like, it was just you had to watch it every single night.
If you watch hockey on a daily basis and you've never seen McDavid, and then you watch McDavid, you see a completely different gear, right? Like McDavid, to put this in perspective, McDavid is like a Tesla versus some of these engine cars, right? He just moves at a different speed. He has so much more torque, so much more pickup than these other guys. And you watch it every play he's out there. You see guys basically rushing towards him to make sure he doesn't get behind them. His engine is just so strong.
His processing of information. I was somehow the way like they have to move the stick so fast and on skates. The way he does it, I'm like, how is that humanly possible?
Yeah, and he's still young. I mean, we're talking about a guy still in his prime, putting up these gaudy numbers against essentially a league that is against putting up these big numbers. I mean, they really don't have any rules. Not like football where they're gearing it towards offense. The defenses have a really fair shot in hockey, and yeah, just watching him work he's a wizard. I mean, it's incredible.
They haven't made the net bigger. You're right.
Yeah, they're not making the net bigger, right?
Right. Rangers rallied and beat the Penguins in OT. Hi, Aaron. Sammy, before I let you go here, we have to get to this because I felt like when I was watching this game live, I was kind of flipping back and forth. I was like, man, this MSG has no life. And bam, we're tied. And bam, they went in overtime. I'm like, oh, that's why that's a good arena. That was impressive to watch. That arena was dead in the third period. They thought they had lost the thing.
Yeah, I mean, they were down 3-1 in that series. And I mean, we talk about these massive comebacks that happen in playoffs. The Rangers really had to come back from a big hole in the series and then had to come back from a big hole in this game, being down late, in the third period. So I mean, the Rangers just never gave up. Mika had a big game. Their goalie played really well.
Mm-hmm.
Down the stretch, they were the better team. I mean, after it was 3-1 Pittsburgh, I want to say the Rangers outscored them by 8 for the rest of the series, and so that's a lot. That's a lot in a hockey series. And yeah, it was a joy to watch. MSG exploded. My house kind of exploded because we were all cheering. We were all cheering at the same time. I think that was the time where I made a post saying people are sweating Dallas up 40 and missing out on the final 10 minutes of this hockey game, which was so much better than the basketball game at that moment. So yeah, hats off to the Rangers though.
It was worth it because Dallas, I think Bill Marganovich, seeing him pissed off for the first time in my entire life, besides the State Farm commercial, was pretty funny. But they're like seeing guys contain a 7'3" guy from attacking someone is really funny. But no, I completely agree. If they were waiting for that was the game to watch for sure.
Absolutely, it was exciting every minute. And Pittsburgh played well. It wasn't like Pittsburgh laid down in this series in any game. They played well the whole way through. Had chances to win. Were up goals late. I mean, they put it all out there as well. And Sidney Crosby being hurt, coming back and playing in this game. Their goalie being hurt, coming back and playing in this game. All just shows you how much these guys want to win. And they put their bodies out there big time against the Rangers, and the Rangers just overcame it. It was great. It was a great series to watch.
Love it. Well, Sammy's got to go. I won't keep you any longer, Sammy. Thank you again. We'll be back tomorrow and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Tomorrow's top 5 NHL. Oh, good Lord. Top 5 baseball teams and top 5 NFL games on the 2022 schedule. Thanks, Sammy, so much. Have a great one, sir.
My pleasure. Take care.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. When I come back, I'm going to do the last 15 minutes of this show talking about lacrosse with the Buffalo Bandits. How important was their win? The Colorado Mammoth did, in fact, steal a game in San Diego and staying in L.A. Well, I trust the latest Lakers report from Brian Windhorst. We're right back to the AM Drive on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. The AM Drive with Mike and Aaron might be the best morning show ever. If you love the show, shop the merchandise for $26 hoodies, $16 shirts, even $13 mugs. High quality swag for cheap because Mike and Aaron love the fans. The best morning show, the lowest price merch at amdrive.online.
This is Popple, the next generation business card. With just a tap, your Popple instantly shares your digital business card to both iPhone and Android devices. The best part? The other person doesn't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. To pop your info, tap your Popple to the top of an iPhone, the center of an Android, or just scan your in-app QR code. And just like that, all your info is saved to their phone. More connections, more leads, more sales. That's Popple. Download our free app and get your Popple today.
Aren't you the Vice Golf guy?
Yeah, you want an autograph?
Yeah. Actually, I was just wondering if the balls are any good.
The balls are amazing. You look like a Pro Plus guy.
I thought you'd never ask. It's actually better than my old ball.
And it's half the price.
Top performing golf ball, half the price. It's almost stealing.
Quit searching the globe and get your high-performing golf balls at vicegolf.com.
Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Welcome back to the AM Drive here on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, presented by Fanatics. Go to MikeandAaronDrive.com and click the F to shop all things from every team in every league with daily deals. Again, today's deal is 25% off collectibles, and that includes autographs. If you want to get the bobbleheads or whatever you want signed, check it out for 25% off. Go to MikeandAaronDrive.com and click the Fanatics logo to support the show. This is the Mike Said It First version for June and July because I'll be honest, guys, Aaron won't be here for the next 2 months. It's me and Sammy for the first 30, then me and whoever else for the last 15. Thanks so much for tuning in. The Buffalo Bandits beat the Toronto Rock 18-17 behind great performances from their stars, Josh Byrne and Dane Smith. We have actually talked to Steve Bernal of the Bandits play-by-play crew twice this season. And I'm telling you what, Steve's a very humble man because this Buffalo team is absolutely incredible. I know they have Matt Vince. I know Matt Vince allowed 17 goals, but he's an incredible goalie. This was a fast, awesome game in the NLL playoffs. And it was actually incredible because in the final 8 seconds, Toronto had cut the lead back to 1, and they had a shot, like 2 different shots right there, and somehow missed them both. It was absolutely incredible. But I thought the bigger story of this game, Buffalo has no sports until the Bills come back, or the college football, whatever. That's a long time from now. A lot of times sports can serve as a distraction for war problems. I felt like after the terrible shooting and the senseless, awful shooting this weekend, it was awesome to see Buffalo not only play the game, but also win. Shout out to Josh Byrne, who said it was tough playing the game, but said he saw a lot of love in that arena compared to what the world has, which is unfortunately hate. Sports fans come together unlike few others. Yeah, there will be some again tussles. You'll see on Twitter, they'll personally attack each other sometimes. Like calling out their mom or saying, "Oh, I'll give the R." I've been a victim of that. But in an arena, when you both love the same team, it's very hard to separate that and everything else. So shout out to the Buffalo Bandits for persevering and getting a win in what was an awesome, entertaining game. And now let's go to Toronto for game 2. Oh, that's insane. The Colorado Mammoth beat the Seals in game 1 in San Diego. Oh. The thing about this game was the Seals had lost 6 straight. They won their season finale and they won their quarterfinals game. I honestly thought the Mammoth could get them, but I thought ultimately the Seals would win and the series would go to 3. I now believe Colorado will sweep Buffalo. I've said it all year long. Colorado has a great home field advantage. Their arena is always rocking. It's in Mile High. It's hard to breathe. I think it's going to be an awesome game, but I think Steelers are going to get swept in game 2. I know Bandits were a good road team, as Steve Bernal pointed out, but we'll see. I'm thinking of the Mammoth is what I'm talking about. The Colorado Mammoth are just an incredible team at home. I don't know if the Seals can do what they did all season long at home. Different animal in Colorado. My final topic of today's AM Drive is going to be talking about staying in Los Angeles. I have been one to predict that LeBron James will not go to Cleveland, will not go to Miami to finish his career. He'll go one of two places. Dallas, if the Mavericks can find a way to keep certain guys I mentioned, along with drafting LeBron Jr., aka Bronny, and then getting LeBron over to Dallas. But according to ESPN's Brian Windhorst, he said Jeannie Buss and LeBron James are, quote, in a good place right now in their relationship. That's huge to me. There are three people I trust when it comes to reporting on LeBron James. Whoever's at Clutch Sports, Dave McMenamin, and Brian Windhorst. That's his agency, the guy who covered him in Cleveland, and the guy who covered him in Miami. Those are the three that I trust. Brian Windhorst may be the fat guy. He may be the guy that's hard to watch and listen to. He knows LeBron James. And to hear that come out this weekend was really cool for Lakers fans. As a LeBron fan and a Heat fan at the same time, I'll admit it would be fun to have him back in Miami. It'd be kind of cool to see him go back to Cleveland. But LA is where he wants to be. He's raising his kids there. He's got his wife there. The point is, I trust this report. I trust it, as should we all. How would LeBron go hopping now? You don't think the Lakers are going to try to draft Bronny? They might even reach for Bronny, for crying out loud. Bronny will be drafted by the Lakers or the Mavericks. I think mostly the Lakers now. It'd be cool to see Maxi Kleber, Jalen Brunson, Luka Doncic, Jordan Finney-Smith, all there with Coach Jason Kidd and LeBron James and Bronny. But for now, and Dwight Powell. But for now, I think Lakers would be a great fit for LeBron. If AD can stay healthy, that'd be fantastic. But whatever. Tomorrow is a Top 5 Tuesday. We'll have Top 5 baseball teams for myself and Sammy, possibly Aaron. We'll also talk about Top 5 games on the 2022 NFL schedule. The schedule release was this week, was on Thursday. I can't wait to talk about that. And of course, Celtics and Heat series prediction and Game 1 preview. And of course, more that comes in as sports happens as we know it. Thanks so much for tuning into the AM Drive here on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. It's been a pleasure. I once again want to thank Sammy Action for coming on the show once again and helping us out, at least helping me out tremendously. And so for that, for Sammy, for Aaron, for everyone, please go to MikeandAaronDrive.com, click all those great links, and I will see you guys tomorrow on Top 5 Tuesday. Have a great day, and as always,